於2023年10月8日，由以色列向哈馬斯宣戰開始，正係小犬座叫出紅馬嘅時間。而8年前，2015年3月15日，2012榮耀盼望 Volume 266天馬座行動1，又話牧師分享咗 Freemason 第33級嘅 Albert Pike 於1871年所寫下關於世界將會出現3次世界大戰嘅預言。而預言發出40多年之後，第一以及第二次世界大戰已經如 Albert Pike 嘅預言應驗，並且佢亦講出咗兩場大戰嘅成因及結果。至於佢所預言嘅第3次世界大戰，就係現時剛開始嘅戰爭。對於大部分人嚟講，呢個只係局限於中東嘅以巴地區衝突。但係若果對照 Albert Pike 於150年前嘅預言，以巴衝突就係第3次世界大戰嘅開始。並且佢亦都有提及第3次世界大戰嘅走向同埋終局。因此2023年10月30日，日華牧師特意同策略家以及資料員重溫當日嘅主日信息，並且因應預言嘅應驗作出進一步嘅分析以及答問。今次由於希望弟兄姊妹能夠以一氣呵成嘅方式聽到整段信息，因此我哋會先抽起策略家同資料員嘅問題，留待之後再播放。並且由於 Albert Pike 呢個預言實在非常重要，為咗讓弟兄姊妹能夠更完整吸收當中嘅內容，所以我哋會播放2次。第一次係完整重溫，第二次則會加上牧師於2023年10月30日嘅進一步解說以及分析。此外，當日 Albert Pike 嘅預言片段係引用釋經家 J.R. Church 於2010年嘅分享，而 J.R. Church 亦喺呢一次分享嘅1年之後，即2011年去世。然而，大家要留意，無論係 J.R. Church 或係當年分享天馬座行動第一篇嘅我哋，當時我哋對 Freemason 嘅認識遠不及而家，甚至當年亦未有新婦可以時空穿梭嘅概念。所以當年 J.R. Church 嘅解說只係按當時普羅大眾對 Freemason 嘅認知水平作分享，與今日我哋所知道嘅當然係有偏差嘅。以下節錄天馬座行動1有關 Albert Pike 嘅信息內容。
如果你睇翻 Freemason 33 degree Albert Pike 咧，其實佢喺第一次世界大戰之前寫咗一封信啊嘛。咁嗰封信咧，嗰陣時人類都仲未知道咩叫世界大戰啊，因為冇噶嘛。咁但係問題佢已經寫咧，第一次世界大戰要用乜理由去打？要為咗 Freemason 去統治世界咧，第一次世界大戰要用咩理由去打？第二次世界大戰要用咩理由去打？咁事實上咧，當打完第一次世界大戰嘅時候，啲人震驚佢嘅準確啊，咁所以就喺第一次世界大戰同第二次世界大戰中間咧，佢啲封信就去咗人哋嗰啲博物館嗰度啊。但係佢封信咧就唔係寫完第二次世界大戰，佢寫埋第3次世界大戰係因為乜嘢理由打？咁所以變咗喺第二次世界大戰未發生之前咧，博物館已經有一封信係 Freemason 33 degree 講緊就係話佢哋點樣引發第二次世界大戰同第3次世界大戰。但係第二次世界大戰咧就真係照足佢封信所講嘅去打喎，因為嗰個理由。但係第3次世界大戰咧，而家都係照足裏邊所講嘅理由。而家佢講緊第3次世界大戰係無神論同埋一種咧類似 ISIS 咁樣嘅信念，去成為全世界嘅恐怖主義啊嘛。佢講嗰個類似 ISIS 嗰個恐怖主義就係咩呢？就係嗰個係完全冇任何道德啊，冇任何人倫啊，冇任何嘢都屬於叫有價值嘅一個概念咧，乜嘢都要毀滅嘅概念啊嘛。
Albert Pike 生於美國波士頓，1809年12月29日出生，死於1891年4月2日。1825年畢業於哈佛大學，後嚟成為咗一位記者同埋律師。Albert Pike 其後更加成為咗一位身份極為顯赫嘅共濟會第33級最高級會員，並喺1859年至到1891年成為咗北美共濟會嘅總指揮，更加撰寫咗一本長達861頁俾共濟會最重要會員嘅教導手冊《Morals and Dogma of the Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry》，古代公認的蘇格蘭共濟會儀式的道德及教條。同時，佢亦都係傳聞中因為迫害黑人而臭名遠播嘅秘密組織3K 黨嘅領袖。Albert Pike 喺美國內戰時係一名南軍准將，而南方則係當時維護黑奴系統同埋內戰戰敗嘅一方。但係佢嘅銅雕像卻被美國政府放喺華盛頓首都嘅共濟會會所前，用嚟紀念佢。佢係唯一獲此尊榮嘅南軍軍事領袖。雖然美國內戰結束後， 佢因為叛國罪而坐監，但隨後佢卻被同樣係共濟會成員嘅美國總統 Andrew Johnson 特赦。喺過去嘅幾十年，一直流傳住一封由 Albert Pike 寫俾另一位共濟會會員 Giuseppe Mazzini 嘅信件，信中提及將來嘅世界需要發生3次世界大戰，繼而將全世界推進新世界秩序嘅計劃裏面。加拿大海軍前情報主任 William Guy 從一位智利嘅樞機主教中得知，1925年嘅時候，呢封信應該交由大英博物館嘅圖書館收藏，但係現今大英博物館卻一概否認擁有呢封信。即使今日冇充分嘅物證嚟證實呢封信嘅存在，但係呢封信所流傳嘅內容仍然吻合過去100年嘅歷史發展。以下影片係由已故嘅著名基督教末日論釋經家 J.R. Church 喺2010年錄製嘅網絡節目，而 J.R. Church 就係發現詩篇係由1900年開始一篇對應一年咁預言住人類歷史最後100多年嘅發現者，並喺1986年8月出版咗 Hidden Prophecies in the Psalms。影片嘅內容係 J.R. Church 介紹關於共濟會嘅 Albert Pike。Freemason 一直相信撒旦先至係真正嘅神，所以 Albert Pike 喺1871年寫信俾 Mazzini 就係提到自己接收到一個嚟自撒旦嘅異夢。呢個夢嘅內容係關於世界將會發生3次世界大戰。第一次世界大戰嘅目的係允許光明會推翻沙皇喺俄羅斯嘅權力，以及使該國成為一個無神論嘅共產主義堡壘。有關第一次世界大戰嘅內容已經完全準確咁應驗咗。
Now, I tell you all of this because it is said that he received a vision from his mentor, Mr. Lucifer, I guess, on August 15th, 1871. And William Guy Carr, former intelligence officer in the Royal Canadian Navy, wrote a book called Satan, Prince of this World, in which he gives this information. He said that he received this information from a book written by Cardinal Caro Rodriguez in Santiago, Chile, who wrote in 1925 a book called The Mystery of Freemasonry Unveiled. And in this book, in 1925, it is said that he wrote a letter to a man named Mazzini, in which he described this dream. And in the dream, he predicted 3 world wars. The First World War, he said, must be brought about, and I'm quoting from Albert Pike. The First World War must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the power of the czars in Russia and of making that country a fortress of atheistic communism. The divergences caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the British and German empires will be used to foment this war. At the end of the war, communism will be built and used in order to destroy the other governments and in order to weaken the religions. Now, students of history will know that Otto von Bismarck forged certain alliances between 1871 and 1898, which brought about this war, this World War I. And Otto von Bismarck here says that he was a co-conspirator with Albert Pike, and he was the one instrumental in bringing about the First World War. Well, that's the First World War.
Albert Pike 繼續指出，第2次世界大戰將會係法西斯主義同埋猶太復國主義者之間嘅爭戰。呢場爭戰會使以色列立國，並將共產主義進一步強化，亦都會打擊基督教嘅力量。而有關第2次世界大戰嘅預言，亦都再次驚人咁準確應驗咗。
Then he dreams that there must be, he is given in this visionary dream, a second world war. Now remember, this was in 1925 that it became public in this book written by a cardinal from Santiago, Chile, Rodriguez. He says, quote, "The Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. This war must be brought about so that Nazism is destroyed and that the political Zionism will be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel in Palestine. During the Second World War, international communism must become strong enough in order to balance Christendom, which would then be restrained and held in check until the time when we would need it for the final social cataclysm. Well, there are some who may argue that the terms Nazism and Zionism were not known in 1871. You should remember, however, that the Illuminati invented both of these movements. In addition, communism as an ideology and as a coined phrase originates in France during the Revolution. In 1785, Restif coined the phrase 4 years before the Revolution broke out. Restif and Babeuf, in turn, were influenced by Rosé, as was the most famous conspirator of them all, Adam Weishaupt.
結尾 Albert Pike 指出，最後將會發生第三次世界大戰，呢一次將會係由回教恐怖主義引致，令全世界都陷入可怕嘅混亂之中。最後，撒旦就會如同光明嘅使者出現喺世人面前，而全世界都會接受佢。環顧現今世界嘅政局走向，人類已經步入咗第三次世界大戰嘅邊緣。聖經所預言嘅7年大災難以及敵基督嘅恐怖統治，亦都將會發生。
Then he has this vision, in this vision, not only one world war and 2 world wars, but here comes the 3rd world war. He says, and I quote, "The 3rd World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world." Yeah, that's what he says. The war, this was 1925. Please understand that. At least 1925. It may go all the way back to 1871 as is purported to do, but at least it was written in a book and published in 1925. So he says that after World War I was just over a few years and before World War II even started, he's now thinking about this 3rd World War, and it says that it will be caused by the differences between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the State of Israel, mutually destroy each other. That's what it says. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economic exhaustion. We shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm in which, in all its horror, will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin and savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil. So he's against Christianity and he's against atheism. They're supposed to fight each other to the death, you see. Then, he says, everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries will exterminate those destroyers of civilization and the multitude, disillusioned with Christianity, whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal, but without knowledge where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer. That's what he says. Brought finally out in the public view. So he's saying that Lucifer will finally make himself, the good guy. He's going to save the world from these atheists who don't believe in deity and from these Christians who believe in the good God. Well, so it says, this manifestation will result in the general reactionary movement which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same